So the topic is constant growth rate model or Gordon's share valuation model. So basically, constant growth rate model or Gordon share valuation model tells you that if you buy a share, right? The share, first of all, the first assumption of share valuation is that in this particular Gordon's model, that the share which we are going to hold, we assume that we are going to hold it for an infinite period of time. So this is the first assumption of Gordon share valuation model, right? That the share we are going to hold is for infinite period of time. Like in previous questions, in the questions we discussed that the shareholder is going to hold the share for example, maybe 2 years or maybe 3 years. But in this model, we do not assume that the person is going to hold, the investor is going to hold the share for example 2 years or 3 years. He's going to hold the share for a infinite period of time, and in between, if that person wants to sell the share, he can sell the share in secondary market. So first thing is, there is no intention of selling the share in between. And second thing is, he is going to, the person is the share is not having any maturity value. Like in bond valuation, there was always a maturity value, but in share valuation there is no maturity. The person is going to hold the share for infinite period of time. There is no maturity value. Then second assumption of this model is, with a certain percentage the dividend will increase every year. So they says that in case of bond valuation, if you remember that the bond used to give a fixed interest rate every year, right? But in case of shares, the dividend will not stay stable. It may increase or decrease, but obviously as an investor, and a company will also say that we are going to increase your dividend every year. Nobody will say that maybe in second year we'll decrease your dividend. So there is a constant, the model which we are doing today is constant growth rate model, right? That the dividend will increase every year with a fixed percentage. For example, every year the dividend is going to get increased by a certain percentage. So for example, 0 years dividend is given to you, right? So 0 years dividend is called, maybe in the first year the dividend is D naught, right? 0 years dividend is D naught. And now we have to calculate dividend for next years. Now first year's we have assumed D naught as the 0 years dividend. So first year's dividend will be D1. So D1, how do we calculate D1? To calculate D1, the formula would be D naught into, because we want to calculate future value, right? Because in first year, for example, dividend is 10 rupees. In second year, dividend will increase by 10%. So we have to calculate future value here. So D naught into F V, future value interest factor, R into N. So R is the growth rate which is given to you, growth rate, right? And N is the first year, whatever year we are talking about. Then second year, third year, just like that. Then second year's dividend, how do we calculate? D2 equals to D naught. We calculate it on the basic one, or you can also calculate on D1 also. But if you calculate on D1, N would be 1. But if you are calculating on D naught, N would be 2, right? Then D3, again I have calculated on D naught. So future value we have to calculate, and there here growth rate would remain same, but the years will increase 1, 2, 3, right? Then next is, so we have understood three assumptions, maybe two assumptions. That first is, the investor is going to hold it for infinite period of time. Second is, dividend will not remain constant. They will increase every year with a fixed percentage. So the rule of Gordon's model is that the dividend will increase with a fixed percentage. Then the third one is K. K is called the discount rate or required rate of return. So, always remember that there would be a required rate of return which an investor demands, right? So, investor will always demand a required rate of return which is greater than the growth rate, right? Whatever the company is offering, investor will always demand something more than that, right? So required rate of return would always be greater than the growth rate. So required rate of return is something which investor wants, and growth rate is something which company gives you every year. Like what is the and always remember that required rate of return is greater than growth rate. It would never be the case that required rate of return is less than the growth rate. So the formula here is S naught is the intrinsic value of the share, D1 is the dividend, and K minus G. K is required rate of return minus the growth rate. So now what we'll do, we will try to calculate the value, right? So here we have the question. A company has declared a dividend of 2.50 per share for the current year. The company is following the policy of increasing the dividend by 10% every year. So here the growth rate is 10%. Company is going to increase the dividend by 10% every year. An investor who is considering the purchase of this share has a required rate of return of 15%. So again, always remember that the investor wants to buy the share at 15%, right? But the company is offering only 10%. So here again, the investor's required rate of return is more than what company is offering. So if the required rate of return of the investor is more than the growth rate of the company, then always remember that the investor has to buy the share at a lower price, right? So whenever, I'll just write it, when the required rate of return is more than, when the required rate of return is more than growth rate, then the investor has to buy at a lower price, right? And if second situation is if required rate of return is equal to growth rate, then the investor can buy at the face value of the share. Because in this case, if the required rate of return and the growth rate of the company is same, then the investor do not have to see various things. Then he can buy whatever company price is offering, right? For example, the face value of the share is 100, then he can buy it at 100 if the growth rate and required rate of return is same. But in case the required rate of return is more than the growth rate which is offered by the company, then obviously the investor has to buy it at a lower price. Now obviously, if in these questions, if the growth rate is more than the if the required rate of return is more than the growth rate, then we have to calculate the intrinsic value, at what price the investor should buy it, right? So here the formula is S naught equals to D1 upon K minus G. So here we have to calculate D1. So how do we calculate D1? To calculate D1, we have to calculate D naught into future value interest factor. So right now I do not have the table. Otherwise, if you have the table, you can check the value. Future value interest factor 10, 1. 10 is the growth rate and 1 is the time period, right? But because I do not have it, what I am doing, I am just applying the formula of compounding formula, 1 plus 0.10. I'll just write it. So 1 plus 0.10, right? So I'm just applying compounding formula, that's it. So now the value of 2.50 in next year would be 2.50 into 1.10, it becomes 2.75, right? So the next year's dividend would be 2.75 because the growth rate is 10%, right? So it becomes 2.75. In first year, if the investor has got the dividend of 2.50, next year the dividend would become 2.75. Now I can just apply the formula. So this is the formula, 2.75 divided by 0.15 minus 0.10. So the final answer is, now the investor can buy the share at rupees 55, right? So I hope this is clear with everyone. So the next model which we are studying today is multiple growth rate model, right? So now what is the difference between constant growth rate model and multiple growth rate model? See, the very simple difference between constant growth rate model and multiple growth rate model is that in first case, in constant growth rate, the dividend was increasing at a fixed rate every year. But in case of multiple growth rate model, the dividend may increase at a varying rate, right? This growth may not be same for the whole life of the share, but it may change over a period of time, right? So I think we can just solve this question. We can just understand the formula for this question with the help of an example. I'm not going to tell you the formula directly so that it would be easier for you to understand this step by step. So let's start with an example. And while doing the question, I will tell you the formula also. Right? So a chemical company paid a dividend of rupees 2.75 during the current year. Forecast suggests that earnings and dividends of the company are likely increase, or we can write grow, at the rate of 8% over the next 5 years, and the rate and at the rate of 5% thereafter. Investors have traditionally required a rate of return of 20% on these shares what is the present value of the share, present or intrinsic value of the share, right? So here, as you can see in the question, in current year the dividend is 2.75, and later on it is expected that the dividends will grow by 8% for 5 years, right? It is going to increase by 8% for 5 years, and thereafter it will be constant for 5%, right? So it is two-stage model. There can be three-stage model also, like for first year it is 8%, then 2 years 10%, and then for rest of its life it can be 12%. So the current question we are doing is of two-stage model, but it can be three-stage model, it can be four-stage model as well. But point is, there is multiple growth, but always remember that at the end of the question the growth would become constant, right? So there would be maybe n number of growth rates available to you in the question, but the last growth rate would be which is getting constant, right? So here the constant one is 5% for the rest of the life, but for 5 years, initial 5 years of the company, the growth rate is 8%, right? So then investors have traditionally required, the required rate of return by investor is 20%. So investor want a return of 20%. So on the basis of the current information, we need to calculate the present value of the share, or you can say the intrinsic value of the share, right? So what is the information given to us? First we are given D naught, D naught is current year's dividend 2.75. This is given to you in the question. Then what else given to you? N for initial the time period. First the constant growth rate. First the interest rate for 5 years it was 8%, so N is 5, initial one. Then there is what else is given to you? K we can call it required rate of return. Just write it here. This is required rate of return. So this is 20%. Then there is G. G is the growth rate. So this growth rate, we have two growth rates for the first 5 years and then rest of the life, right? So I'll just write it for the first 5 years. So for the first 5 years, the growth rate is 8%. And then we have another growth rate for after 5 years, I can write after 5 years. So here it is 5%. This is given to you. Now the first step, what we have to do here is we have to calculate different values. Okay. like the present, you know, first of all, we have to calculate the dividends for 5 years, right? So we need to calculate D1, D2, D3, D4 and D5. And then we need to calculate their present values, okay? So there are two things which we have to do. First, we have to calculate the dividends. So D naught is given to you. Now we will calculate D1 on the basis of D naught. So to calculate D1, what we can do, 2.75, I'll just write the formula first, okay. One plus G, growth rate, right, raised to the power 1. Okay. So here D naught is 2.75. So 1 plus G, growth rate is 8%, 0.08 raised to the power 1 because it is for first year. So it becomes 2.97. Now similarly I will calculate for second year. Here. So this is D2. For D2, D naught into 1 plus G raised to the power 2. Right. So 2.75 into 1 plus 0.08 raised to the power 2. So this becomes 3.21. Right. Then again we need to calculate for third year. Now we want to calculate D3. So D formula would be D naught into 1 plus G raised to the power 3. 2.75 into 1 plus 0.08 raised to the power 3. So here it becomes 3.46. Then D4. Now I'm just changing the powers. So this becomes 3.74. Then we need to calculate D5. It becomes 4.04. So here we have calculated what D1, D2, D3, D4 and D5 every year's dividend. So these are the dividends which we expect to receive in coming 5 years. But point is we have to calculate the present value of all these dividends because we want to calculate the intrinsic value of the share. So to calculate intrinsic value we have to calculate present values of all the future incomes. Then only we would be in a position to understand the intrinsic value. So here now what will I do? I will calculate the present value of all the dividends which we have received, which we are going to receive in future, right? So I'm writing it as V1 value 1. Okay, so because we have to calculate two values V1 and V2, so I'm writing it as V1. To calculate V1, now I need to calculate the present values of all the dividends which I will be receiving or the investor would be receiving in future. So here D1 into PVIF, or you can call it PVF R comma N. So here R would be the required rate of return, that is what is given in the question, 20%. The required rate of return is 20%. So R would be 20 and N is 1 because we are talking about year 1, right? Then again similarly we will apply D2, D3, D4, and D5. Right? So here R would be 20% required rate of return and N would change every year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So N would be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now I will put the values into the formula. So here D1 is 2.97 PVIF, R is 20%, N is 1, D2 is 3.21 PVIF, R is 20 and N is 2, D3 is 3.46 PVIF, R is 20 and N is 3. Then D4 is 3.74 PVIF 20, N is 4 and D5 is 4.404 PVIF, R is 20 and N is 5, right? Now I will just put the values. I will see the table and I will put all the values. So I'll just check the value. I will see value PVIF 21. Okay, just let me see. So PVIF 21 on 20% 1 year. So this is 0.8333. So this is 0.8333. Then for 2 it is 0.6944. .6944. Then for third one it is 5787, 0.5787. Then it is 4823. And for fifth year it is 0.4019. 0.4019. Right. Now I will just solve it. So V1 equals to 2.97 into 0.8333, it becomes 2.47. 20, yes, 2.474 plus, then next is 3.21 into 0.6944. This is 2.229 plus, then the third one is 3.46 into 0.5787, 2.00 plus, then the next one is 3.74 into 0.4823. This becomes 1.803. Then we have 4.04 into 0.4019, 1.623. So here, if we'll add all the values, we approximately get 10.13. So the dividends which we are going to receive for the next 5 years, the present value of the future 5-year dividends is 10.13. Now we'll move to second part of the question. Because till now we have calculated only V1, now we have to calculate V2. Now how do we calculate V2? V2 is basically the time period for when the dividend became constant. Like initially it was 8%, then later on it became 5% for the rest of the life. So now for the rest of the life, when the dividend became constant, we have to apply a different formula. Okay. Now the formula which we are going to apply here is so the formula is dn into 1 plus g divided by k minus g into 1 plus k raised to the power n. So this is the formula. Now what are all these values? Okay, now I'll just solve it and simultaneously I will just tell you what are all these values. So first is dn. What is dn here? So you know dn is the dividend last paid. Okay, so the last paid dividend is 4.04, like 5th year's dividend. After this, because the dividend value was supposed to change, right? After 4.40, like on 3.74, the dividend growth was of how much? Of 8%. Here if you see, till 4th year the dividend was 0.08, right? But after 5th year it would be 5%. So dn is the last dividend paid. So last dividend paid here is how much? 4.40. 4.04, not 40, 4.04 into now 1 plus growth. So here by GV means the second growth rate, right? G2 we can write it, or right. So here now the dividend is 0.05 because now the dividend is increasing by 5% for the rest of the life. So 0.04 into 1 plus the new growth rate divided by the required growth rate, that is 0.20 minus the growth rate, the new growth rate 0.05 into now 1 plus k, 1 plus k is the required rate of return, that is 20%, 0.20, and here n would be 5 because for 5 years the growth was constant, right? So here we will write 5. Now we will just solve this question, this part. So 0.04 into 1 plus 0.04 into 1.05, it becomes 4.24. Because it is increasing by 5%. So this becomes 0.15. 1 plus 0.20 divided by raised to the power 5. Now we'll just solve it, and the final answer by solving it we got is 11.36. So this is how we have calculated V1 and V2. So the final value, the shear value would be again S naught the intrinsic value of the shear, S naught equals to V1 plus V2. So here it is V1 plus V2. V1 was 10.13 plus 11.36. So this becomes 21.49. So the investor should pay 21.49 rupees to buy a share which is promising the above growth rates. Like if any share which is offering 8% growth for first 5 years, then 5% thereafter, and the required rate of return of the investor is 20%, then the investor must pay today 21.49.